magazines,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Well, I got to take that if I'm going to look like that. But how do you resonate your ethos and your message to people so that they really believe that you've got the best product?
Yeah, I think that's one of those things. It's tough. That's a multi-pronged question, and it's answered so many different ways. The reality is when you go into a GNC and you don't know what you're doing, you're going into some, health food store.
Mm-hmm.
You could be sold some garbage.
Yeah.
You don't really know. I think for us, knowing at the core of it, we're a manufacturer, so we can help the industry by knowing, do it right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't cut corners. Don't lie when it's easy to lie. Don't do those things. So for us, what we communicate with people is, well, we could clearly say, well, use us. We're good at it. But that's kind of biased. Is work with a company that openly will share their testing,
Mm-hmm.
third-party testing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's something that's really interesting for us, is that recently everybody's really doing this, or at least the good companies are starting to do it. It's part of their marketing scheme. It's something we've done for 15 years.
Yeah.
When it wasn't in vogue to do it. We've always done it because mainly, again, we're buying this stuff from who knows where. I put it in my body.
Right.
I don't want heavy metals or something that says it isn't. So we've always tested stuff, and we've always provided all those, the purity, potency, and identity of every ingredient we have. We do it first party and third party tests. There's literally a lab on the other side of that wall. So that's a good way of approaching. I don't know, I went to this Whole Foods and I saw all these things sitting on the wall. I don't know what to take. And then the second one is to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are like, well, I saw this on Instagram and it was clearly marketed to me. Don't just trust it because you saw some pictures flashing that.
Yeah.
There's a thing called Google. Get on it and ask a question. Learn about it. That's one thing that I feel that's starting to fade, is that people just want to be fed something and just hope and trust that it's going to do something. But part of the process is learning, like, what am I taking?
Yeah.
And through that process, you start to realize, like, that product that has these ingredients that clearly are known as filling ingredients, I don't want. So
yeah.
That's kind of the two things we always state.
It's kind of a horror story because I have basically hereditary high cholesterol,
Mm-hmm.
right? I can be best diet, and I've done the studies with my diet. And at a time where I was working out a lot, I went to the club store and I was using some of the proteins there.
Yep.
Doctor says, geez, your cholesterol's through the roof. Well, I made the mistake of not really identifying the ingredients in the protein powders. Yep. This particular one had a tremendous amount of cholesterol in it.
Oh, wow.
And I just learned a big lesson about nutrition and products, about finding the ones that fit you and your personal needs, as
100%.
opposed to what you're being marketed to, right?
Yeah.
This was on an end cap, the price was right, the flavor looked good, and I jumped in without doing my research.
Yeah, I think most people, we sell probably 30 or 40 different types of protein powders, and they all will get you from point A to point Z. They're all just filled with amino acids. However, some are derived from vegetables, some are derived from animal byproducts or what have you. But there are a ton of products out there, and people just think a protein's a protein, and it's not. At least the FDA's made rules with, nutritional information or supplement facts panel that you should get accustomed to it and you should get used to it. It's people will spend all types of money on health care. They'll go to doctors and spend a ton of money. And I'm like, your best health care is what you put into your body right now.
Mm-hmm.
The food, dietary supplements, and it's funny, just people don't think that way. So yeah, definitely reading what's on the back is
important, right?
Yeah, because most people are like, well, I want a protein powder, Doug. What should I take? And I'm like, well, what kind of protein do you want? And they're like, I want chocolate. And I'm like, well, there's more to it than just chocolate. So, and then again, I have to look at it because I'm in this world every day, so I understand all the different amino acids and whatnot. So I know obviously I'm more privy to information than other people, but you do need to know more than just chocolate and vanilla.
Yeah, that's a flavor, not a protein, right? I want to step back real quick. talking about when you started your business with Dante, did you guys have to go out and raise capital, or did you just jump in with what you had in your bank, which sounded like not a lot?
It was nothing. Yeah, so what we did initially, and I don't know if we could do it now. I don't know if I'm annoying enough now to do it anymore. So, 15 years ago, we literally, I talked to two guys on Craigslist to build this website, which was True Protein back in the day, and they quoted it out at $2,600, I think it was. I wish it was $2,600 now. And I remember saying to them, I was like, here's the deal. We're going to pay you double. However, it's going to take 6 months.
Yeah.
And these were two younger guys. They're two brothers, and, there's some pushback on it. And I'm like, here's the deal. Like, we'll sign a contract, I promise you. And that's how that was started. So we always push things out. In a weird way, we leveraged.
Sure.
And same thing with suppliers, where we're like, hey, what's the price on whey protein isolate? And they're like, it's $3 a pound for truckload. I'm like, okay, we don't need a truckload. We need a half a pallet of it. And I know we don't have terms yet. However, we'll pay you X during this time. And that's kind of how it started. We grinded. We just did it. And we had an amazing customer base initially because of Dante. He had a ton of followers and people that read him, and he was explaining to people, this is what we plan on doing. So I think initially when we first launched, we had, I think it was 6 orders when we first launched. And we're just, we were just an e-commerce website. And this was e-commerce when everybody was like, I would never put my credit card on.
Right.
This is before.
Now we all do.
Yeah, this is when Amazon sold books.
Yeah.
And that's all they sold. So I think that initially helped us. And when we got those first few dollars that came in, we didn't spend them on ourselves. It was instantaneously, let's just pay off these guys.
Yeah.
And we got in that rhythm of cash flow, literally in a month. Now, granted, we're talking smaller numbers here.
Yeah, well, tell me, so you got in a couple orders right off the bat. When you say orders, how much are we talking? 20, 30 bucks or a couple hundred?
So, the first order was actually a $600 order.
Wow. And
he ordered 50 pounds of material. And I think he probably did it because it was Dante's buddy.
Sure.
And he's a meathead, and he'll eventually use it all anyway.
Yeah.
But I think the average order at that point was probably about $100 an order. And actually, our orders now have gone down. Obviously, we do way more volume.
Sure.
But the individual orders, the size of it's gone down. So initially, we had some bigger orders. But we learned along the way. It was basically 2 guys with 2 scoops, a bunch of pallets of material, and some mixing bowls, figuring out how do you make protein powder.
Yeah.
So we did it along the way, and we basically we grinded. We didn't really have credit cards. I didn't have a credit card. If I had a credit card, it was completely maxed out. And Dante was kind of in the same place. We just did it, and that's why I kind of say now I don't know if I'd be in the same frame of mind to do that again, because as you get in business, you meet people. We know people with money, and you get, you have relationships with bankers, and to get a line of credit for $100,000 is really easy now.
Yeah.
But back then, if we got a line of credit for $10,000, it would have been monumental.
Sure.
I mean, monumental. So,
well, let me, and I don't mean to get too micro or macro on this, but I think it's very interesting for people that are out there that maybe they want to start a business, and hearing you talk about going to your web guys, saying, okay, we'll pay you double in 6 months.
Yeah.
What gave them the confidence to believe you?
I don't know. Maybe I just convinced them. I was selling car wash chemicals and copy machines. Maybe I became good at sales. I think usually what happens is the other way around. I hear from people all the time. Anytime we do mentorship or we're talking to people that want to start business, I hear 2 things that I kind of cringe when I hear them. I'm like, well, I have too many ideas that I don't know which one to do. And the second one is I have this idea. I just, there's just no money to do it. And both of those are bullshit.
Yeah, complete.
The reality is that if you got so many ideas, take one of them that you think is the best one that you think you can make the most amount of money at. Keep everything else, throw them in the garbage can, or keep them there just in case you want to go back to them, and just do it. Shut your mouth and do it.
Yeah,
just
stop wasting
grind.
time.
And then the second thing, I don't have money. Congratulations. A lot of people don't have money. If that is going to be your defining role on why you can't do something, you're never going to have money. It's just attitude. Yeah, it's a lot easier if somebody hands you $1 million to start something, but if somebody hands you $1 million to start something, it's kind of like mommy or daddy handing you $1 million. It doesn't allow you to properly learn how to grind it through and really make money because it's handed to you. I would almost like if somebody gave you $1 million, don't start a business. Just take the $1 million and go have fun with it.
Yeah.
So, the reality is that if you have a dream and you have something that you know you can do and your excuse is money, there's ways around to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can do it, and I'm not the brightest guy, it's just putting your head down and figuring out. And it may be one of those things. It's $2,600. Okay, I'm going to pay you double. And sometimes you're going to have somebody that goes, all right, I'm in the same place as you are. I have all these skills. I got time. It's worth it for me to get paid double in 6 months from now.
Yeah.
You might have that. So don't give up just because you say you don't have money.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. That's why I wanted to circle back to it because I think a lot of people use that as an excuse, but there's always a negotiation in there. And
100%.
There's a commitment and passion, and clearly in your case, you were standing behind your abilities and your business plan to offer them double. So I love that. You've used the word grind it out quite a bit, and I know what that means for me, but what is your definition of that in your world, or what does that look like for you? Is it start at 4 a.m., you're done at midnight, or all the above?
I woke up at 4:30 this morning. I think now that I'm taught, we're all taught that you're supposed to, it's my job. I got to go to work. I hate my job. It's kind of implied when we're young. Our parents gave it to us. And I state it too because that's what everybody says. But the truth is, I love what I do.
Yeah.
I love my job. It's a part of my life. So when I wake up at 4:30, it's not because I'm I can't sleep and I'm stressing out. I wake up because I have so much stuff I want to do. And I thoroughly enjoy it. So I think for me, the grind is kind of easy. But in the beginning, it's just like anything when you start something. You have to remove your brain and just perform the action. Because everybody's going to tell you, well, it's not the way it is. You don't have money. Work sucks. All that stuff. But I know to be successful, really in anything, and it doesn't have to be career-wise either, just success in life. For instance, you doing the Spartan races. It's a grind to do it. The actual race is the easy part.
Absolutely the easy part.
But doing it, and you have to ask yourself, you're like, why am I doing this? It's the same thing. I'm really into mountaineering and climbing mountains, and there isn't one mountain where I'm not like, what am I doing up here? This is inherently dangerous. It's miserable. But when you do attain that goal and you get to the top, you can't really define it to somebody, but people get it. So you have to definitely find what it is that is going to motivate you to grind it out. It's important.
I have a real hard time. Maybe you catch this once in a while from people. They hand off the work real fast, and they're handing it off, and then you get the I'm really busy, or we're slammed this month, or it's end of month, it's quota time. I'm like, you know what, motherfucker, I'm busy too. I've been grinding since 4 a.m. And it just people want to hand stuff out. And I think to your point, sometimes you just got to grind it out, not only for yourself, but for the people you're in business with or that you're working with.
Yeah, you have to you're your own worst enemy.
Yeah.
And what you tell yourself, if you tell yourself you're really busy, guess what? You're really busy. Everything's perception. So sometimes when I know I'm starting to get down on myself and I'm like, my schedule's so filled up this week, and I want to feel like kind of a pity party for myself, and I want to tell other people about it. Just shut up. You put yourself here.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then when you almost change your perspective on it, it's like, oh, actually, I'm enjoying this. What else would I do? Go watch Netflix? I might as well do this instead.
Yeah, life is good.
Yeah.
As we kind of wrap this thing up, give us the overview of your company. I mean, we've dabbled on some of the things that you do, but what's your elevator pitch for the company so that when people are listening, they know the business that we've been talking about?
Yeah. So, like I was saying previous, we're a larger group of companies. We're a contract manufacturer of dietary supplements and health foods. We own a bunch of different brands. We make products for other brands, but our main one is True Nutrition, mainly because it's kind of our first child and it's the most different.
Mm-hmm.
True Nutrition, if you go to truenutrition.com, it's pretty easy to see what we do. We allow people to customize different ingredients at different percentages, allow them to flavor it and sweeten it and put different types of boosts in it. If you want it in a bag, we can put it in a